the serial killer. Other than scares and effective kills, what would you say is the most important factor when creating a horror script?
I think it's probably the same for anything, but I think having, the well-placed surprise, the well-placed turn of events that's, genuinely unforeseen. It's a really hard thing to do, but I think if you don't have that, especially in today's with today's audiences who are so mean and they know so much and they're so ready to just trample you, that if you can't surprise them, it's really hard. And I would also, so that's sort of elemental. I would say write sound into your script. I guess a lot of people don't do that. I don't know why they don't do that. It's like it's like such an elemental portion of the experience of watching watching a movie is the sound or the lack of sound. I write sound in every scene. I don't know how else to look at it. And the guy who did the sound on Longlegs, when I had my first meeting with him, he's like, I want to thank you. Nobody writes sound. You wrote sound, and you wrote these scenes where there's no dialogue, but there's lots of sound. Right. And he's like, and on those days, he's like, I'm going to mic the places so that the sound is the dialogue. And I was like, well, fucking A. Well, and the sound in Longlegs, if I do say so, is real good.
It is.
That's not my department. That was other people's jobs, and they really killed it. But it started with the sound guy being turned on by the page.
Yeah. And you gave him that roadmap, right? You gave him this kind of primer, right? To go, aha, I see what he's going for. I see. And again, that all comes out on the page, guys. We talk about that a lot, about that sense of place, about that sense of atmosphere, about that sense of tone and all of that. And again, as I mentioned, that really comes through in Oz's writing. It's one of the first things that you notice. And by the way, speaking of sound, kudos to the composer, the great Ziegler, otherwise known as
Zildjian.
Zildjian. Sorry. But yes, wonderful score.
Yeah.
That's his pseudonym.
You know who that is, yeah. I was just going to say the last thing about the sound thing is like just the word silence, period.
Yep.
On a page as its own line.
Yes.
I put sound on its own line.
Yeah.
Bang.
And that's what I went earlier about formatting and spacing and where you place things, because the rhythm of the movie should be there on the page, right? If it's she sees this, but silence, it feels that way in the cut, ideally, or in the movie, right? And I think that's a wonderful thing to do. That's a great piece of advice as well, guys. Let's get some more questions. Sorry, I'm jabbering on. Let's see. I mean, we talked a little bit about this, but I think you can expand on it a bit. But Jim McCarthy, hello, Jim. How are you? When you're writing Longlegs, what was your process like, and how did you determine exactly how much to reveal to the viewer and the reader? So it's a bit on what we touched on earlier, but a little bit more, because it unfolded so precisely. Brilliant work. But again, what they see, what they don't see. We talked a little bit. We touched on that, but expand on that a little bit.
Thank you. I mean, again, like it's an old adage. Everyone's heard it. You write a movie, and then when you shoot the movie, the script is dead, and then when you cut the movie, the dailies are dead. Like it's constantly sort of shedding. It's molting all the time, right? And so you're guilty of different things in each stage, and you kind of like you then atone for those things in the next stage. So it's like in terms of Longlegs, like a lot of that was made good in the editing room, right? Like it's there, but a lot of it was made good and precise in the editing room. In the sequence where Lee, the lead character, she comes to her mom's house and she goes inside and she sort of has this moment of like, oh, why is this door open? And then her mom is out there with the nun's habit, and she does the shotgun thing, and she comes around the outside of the house and she finds her mom in the nun garb with her gun pointed at her doll's head. And when we shot that, as written, pages, just fucking pages, pages of talking, pages of talking, seven plus pages of talking. She's standing there with the gun. They're both standing there with guns. She's got this fucking doll. She's got the shotgun on the doll's head, and they're talking for 7 pages. And you get to the editing room, and all of a sudden, guess what? They're not fucking talking for 7 pages anymore. So that's all just to say, like, expect that a lot of what you do gets changed for the better. And that's part of the process of making anything. If you're lucky for something to get made, it actually, the script, like I've said it in other interviews, but it's like you're driving down the highway and you see the H by the highway and you're like, oh, that's the hospital. But that's not the hospital. That's the sign for the hospital.
Right.
The H is not, you don't drive to the sign. The script is the H.
Right.
Right.
And you find on the page or even on the day when you're shooting it, whatever it is, you have a different perception of it. But when you look at it as a whole, I would assuming you found that it probably ground that sequence to a halt, right? It just
exactly.
It just killed the urgency in what was a pretty critical moment of the film, obviously. So. And
what we decided to do was we decided to take the essential elements of the 7 pages of her talking while standing there, and we turned it into what became the story time segment.
Yes.
Where she sort of tells her daughter the story, which became, it was like, oh, well, duh. The movie's about a mom who tells a story to her child to sort of insulate her from the truth. Oh, so here's the bit where she tells her the story.
Right.
And so that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it was right there for us to have, but I didn't know it when I was writing it. And I didn't know it when we spent the fucking day, which I probably needed back, shooting 8 pages of her standing talking.
Yeah, and you find that in the edit sometimes, right? That's the process. You're like, oh, wasn't removed wholesale. It just was put somewhere else where it made more narrative sense.
Watch the full Stage 32 webcast to get the insider intel you need to stay ahead as a writer, producer, or director in 2026. And for those ready to truly level up, join the Stage 32 Writers Room. This is your direct line to A-list executives and a global community of elite filmmakers. Don't just watch the industry change, lead it. Tap the links below to get started.